Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another amazing episode here on the Train Another Strong podcast. So, what do you do to drop weight? What do you do to shred fat? Like, what is it that's causing my weight gain? Why am I gradually building and the number on the scale? Like, what keeps happening? Do I gotta drop protein? Do I gotta drop carbs? Do I gotta drop fats? Like, what do I do? What kind of macro do I need to focus on in order to, build muscle correctly, to shred fat correctly, to just lose weight? Majority of people always want weight loss. That's the biggest thing. There's never someone that says, not never, but it's rare for people to say, hey, I just want to do this to be healthy and to understand my body and to really truly learn about what my body needs versus what it wants and how to differ between the both and to choose the route that's going to always put my health first. I just want to feel great and be better. It's always, I want to lose weight. I want to lose 50, 30 pounds. Like, you're already 5'5" and you weigh 145 pounds and your body fat percentage is maybe like mid 20s. You're at a good spot already. Yes, we can drop a little bit of body fat. Yes, we can put a little bit of muscle on you. But other than that, we shouldn't be focusing on dropping 30 pounds to get you to 115, to get you to 120. Why should you always want to be this lightest person that you could potentially be? And it's because people view this when they think weight loss, they think I'm going to go from this to this sculpted model magazine front cover model girl on this freaking Women's Health or whatever. And that's not the case. There's so much work that gets put into these specific things: sculpting the body, lifting heavy weight, feeding your body, throwing in carbohydrates, like throwing in high protein days, high sources of protein with every single meal, feeding the body multiple meals inside of a day, eating a high caloric intake, getting the metabolism nice and high, nice and strong by lifting heavy, building muscle, and eating right. All these things come into effect as you are trying to shape and sculpt your body, not just simply cutting carbs, doing a bunch of cardio, and thinking by stepping on the scale, you lost 5 pounds, that you're getting to that body that you think. Because this is also what happens. They lose the weight. Now they look at themselves and there's no shape, there's no sculpt. They feel weak, they feel tired. There's no muscularity, there's no vascularity, there's no shape, there's not what they expected. They thought that by losing the weight, the muscle, the figure, the whole shape was already there. There was nothing that they had to do. And then this is when knowledge begins to be absorbed on what heavy lifting does. And then trying new things, right? Diving into new things. But today I want to specifically talk about how a protein, a fat, a carb, how all these can make you gain weight. But I also want to share with you how they can help you lose weight as well. Okay, it's all it is understanding what your macros are. What is a protein, a fat, and a carb? What are these things? And I've said this multiple times in many different episodes. Okay, you have these things called macros, which are your three fundamental basics that your body desires and needs to recover, to fuel, to energize, to stay healthy, to perform, to be at its best. And it's your protein, your carbs, and your fats. All right, these are three necessities that your body needs every single day in a good balanced form, depending on your fitness level, your muscularity, how much you move inside your day, how sedentary you are, where you want to be at, where your metabolic rate is. To find a good balance with these numbers is important for your body. Then you have the vitamins and minerals, but that's more on a health standpoint. But then all these things have this beautiful energy called a calorie. And this calorie, for every protein gram is 4 calories. For every carbohydrate gram, 1 gram is 4 calories. For every 1 gram of fatty acids, all the nice fatty acids you see in avocados or extra virgin olive oil, whatever, coconut oil, every 1 gram of fat is going to be 9 calories. So this is why whenever you see people and their meal plan or even competitors or whatnot, their fats are kind of low. They're not really like 100 or more, depending on what kind of nutrition lifestyle you're into, but they stay roughly around like a 40 gram to like a 60 gram, depending on your activity level and where you want to be at. If you're a female, you're a male, but they stay that way because they're 9 calories per gram. You start throwing in a lot of grams of fat, your calories are going to start to raise. They're going to start to go high, right? So then that gets you into a surplus. Like I've said multiple times, a surplus is where you're going to gain weight. Deficit is where you're going to lose weight. Maintenance phase is where you can kind of maintain a specific weight or a specific physique or aesthetic look, however you want to be. And that's where those are the three categories you're actually going to, work around. So how can a protein, a fat, and a carb gradually make you gain weight? Now I want to share with you all, whenever you abuse a specific macro or a specific product that has a high macro base in carbohydrates, fats, or protein, all those things are going to equal out to a calorie. And that number of calories is going to either keep you in a deficit or a surplus. This is why it's important to also have someone, a coach, to guide you and give you the correct numbers that you need to eat, because there's certain things you got to think about. All right. You got to think about counting the macros. What kind of, are you training? Are you lifting heavy? Are you doing things that need to have a high recovery phase? Are you using a lot of energy inside of your training cycles? Are you trying to build muscle right now? You're trying to build, a good, strong sculpt foundation? Is that what you're trying to do right now? Because if so, then you need to have a good amount of food, because your training circuits right now are pretty intense. So you're going to be burning really, really fast throughout those carbohydrates. And you're burning carbohydrates because what is that lactic acid? That lactic acid is a compound of the breakdown of the carbohydrate. This is I guess, a trigger of how you can know that a carbohydrate is being used is because that lactic acid buildup, right? That is what the carbohydrate breakdown is going into, that little gas, right? It's a lactic acid. So if you are training intensely, like you are lifting heavy weights and you're going from circuit to circuit, you're doing this and that, you're really doing heavy, you're trying to push the muscle, you're going to need a good carbohydrate base to fill that energy source, right? And then you're also going to need a high protein intake so you can ensure that the muscle fibers that are either broken down, that need to be recovered, rebuilt, or new fibers that need to be rebuilt are being rebuilt properly through the intake of your protein that you're consuming. Your fatty acids are simply there for also a great energy source, and to also ensure that you stay nice and healthy on a hormonal level, on a chemical reaction level, right? Those are all very important for your system. But if all these numbers that are equaling out to your intake, your caloric intake per day is higher than the amount that you are burning, you're going to gain weight. Doesn't matter if you take away carbohydrates and you raise fatty acids. If you think you're doing that because you're going to jump into some sort of diet or keto or whatnot, and that fatty acid replaces the calories that you are getting from your carbohydrates, but it pushes you higher, you're going to be in a surplus. So your body's going to view it as it has too much energy. So it's going to have to store it, which then is going to put you into a weight gain phase. This is why I don't understand why there's so many fad diets out there, because what are these fads trying to do? What is the main purpose of a fad diet? Is to get you to diet. A diet is specifically made to put you into a deficit so that you can do this thing called weight loss. Whenever you achieve the weight loss, what happens after that? How do you gradually go into a maintenance phase? If you have been training your body and eating a certain caloric intake, then your metabolism can then adapt to that low number of calories that it's consuming. If it does that and you have been in a deficit for too long, then you're going to ensure that your body goes back to that number of high calories that you want to consume after you get off this diet. And because you've been training your body to eat at a low deficit, now because you're eating regularly, all those calories are going to begin to explode and be putting you into a major surplus, then which makes you gradually weight gain over a period of time, or even like faster than you would imagine. Because if your deficit was you burning 2,000 calories and you put yourself in a 500 caloric deficit, which puts you at 1,500 calories that you've been consuming from proteins, carbs, and fats, and then you want to be there for, let's say, 2-3 months, and those 3 months passes by and you drop some weight, you're like, damn, I look good. And then after that, you want to get off this diet. Now your metabolism has adapted to that 1,500 caloric intake, but now you're consuming 2,200 calories because now you're hungry. You've been starving for like 3 months. Now you just want to put all this food inside your body, and now you're in a 700 caloric surplus. That 700 caloric surplus turns into 1,400 in 2 days. And then times that by the whole week, you are now amplifying the calories that you consume inside of your day by 7, times that by the whole month. You're going to be putting on mass and weight really fast. And then you're going to start to think, why is this happening? And because your metabolism is drastically changed in such a big number, it's going to take some time to understand how to get back into that maintenance phase, to get back into a healthy metabolic rate. And that's what's going to cause all these things. Protein, carbs, and fats. These three things are necessities to your body, for your body to perform and be great as a human being, as a person, as an athlete, whatever you're doing. If you want to be healthy, sculpt the body, build muscle, shred fat, you need to understand the balance you need to have and these what these factors play inside your system. What does a protein play? What does a carbohydrate play? What does a fatty acid play? If you abuse any one of these macros, then your calories are going to go up. If you abuse protein, have too much protein, you could go into kidney failure, right? Your kidneys could begin to fail. Your body cannot process this much protein inside of your body for you to build muscle faster. If your carbohydrates are really, really high, then yes, you could be damaging, the way that the system really digests and absorbs and uses carbohydrates by raising insulin, lowering insulin, raising it, lowering it. If your body keeps going through the cycle, yes, it's going to cause damage. Same thing with fatty acids. You have too much fatty acids, then your calories are going to skyrocket because 100 grams of fatty acids per day is already 900 calories just from that alone. Then you want to incorporate proteins and carbs, you're going to be really high at that point. And this is when you're going to start to gain weight. This is why people think that fat on a product label, nutrition fact, fat is actually fat. And it's not that. And fat is not always going to make you fat. It's not what it is. The abuse of a certain macro, putting it into a surplus, is going to make you gain weight. That's what it is. Can protein make you gain weight? Yes. Can carbohydrates make you gain weight? Absolutely. Can fatty acids make you gain weight? Of course they can. Anything can make you gain weight over a period of time if you are abusing it to the point to where you're putting your body into a surplus and you're not focusing on the balance that your body needs through the protein, carbs, and fats. Why are people so scared of carbohydrates? Why? Because sugar is a carbohydrate, fructose, corn syrup, all these things that are used inside of even just regular fruit, vegetables, and like syrups or cookies, crackers, or like dried out sugar, whatever it is. You see corn syrup, like ketchup has high fructose corn syrup. Like those things add to carbohydrates. Potato chips, carbohydrates. Potatoes, rice, pastas, carbohydrates. A carbohydrate is in a lot of multiple things, and then you have simple and complex. If you are eating a lot of simple carbohydrates, which is highly processed, high sugar, even high sugar drinks, processed chips, stuff like that, that your body's going to digest in a use really quickly. If you do not understand when to put that inside your system around your training cycle or around a specific program that you're doing, then all your body's going to do is digest that as fast as possible, skyrocketing your metabolic rate to get you even more hungrier, so that whenever your body just digested these 120 calories worth of carbohydrates, then in the next 30 minutes you're hungry again. That's the reason why we begin to gain weight over a period of time, because of carbohydrates, because you don't understand what these carbohydrates are. And then you see this next new nutrition lifestyle where it's like, cut your carbs and you can eat like this. And if you eat like this, you can be like this person. They lost 80 pounds in 2 weeks. Think about how dramatic that is. If you lost 80 pounds in 2 weeks, that is too much for your body. Why do you gain weight over a period of time? Why do you gain weight over a period of time, like a long period of time? In 10 years, people can gain over 100 pounds. Okay, so let's make it easy math. 10 years, 10 pounds per year, 100 pounds overall that they've gained over those 10 years. And that's going from maybe 200 pounds. Okay, if you're like a male, maybe 200 pounds, 185, to then 285, almost 300 damn pounds. If you're a female, okay, maybe you're at 155, 150, 145. That's a 245, 250 pounds. That's going from out of high school, which is majority of the time when this happens, 18 and 19, to then being 29 to even 30. Whenever your body begins to deteriorate, bone density begins to get weakened, and all these things begin to happen, that's whenever you finally put on the 100 pounds. You put on weight over a period of time because your body has to gradually store energy over a period of time, because it is called a cycle. It is called something that your body needs to do so that it doesn't go out of whack. So if you take those 100 pounds and you lose that in 6 months, that is drastic. Your body cannot have the appropriate time to adjust to that certain weight gain or certain weight loss. So the amount of energy that you're distributing and pushing out and losing in that specific time, and then also having your body adjust to it. That's a lot of body fat coming off the body, a lot of inflammation, water weight coming off the body that your body was actually used to. And once you've lost that in a short period of time and not giving it time to lose the weight, then your body can react in multiple different ways, being exhausted, right? Going into some sort of binge eating, doing any sort of thing that can cause your body to react in a certain way that you never thought before. And this is whenever you start to think of like emotional eating, or this is when you start to dive into something else that was not there before because of what has happened with the amount of speed that you went through with your weight loss. Now, can these macros help with weight gain and weight loss? Absolutely, 100%. That's what calories do. That's what energy does. It's there to assist you in any sort of aspect that you want to achieve in your goals. You want to gain weight, these macros are going to help you get there. You want to lose weight, these macros are going to help you get there. All it is having three knobs on this dashboard, and that dashboard is weight loss or weight gain. If you want to hit the weight loss, let's throw in a fourth knob too. Let's throw that fourth knob, and that fourth knob is fitness activity. You're just activity overall. You want to be on that weight loss scale. You're going to keep the physical activity at maybe a minimum, maybe increase it just a little bit more. Then you're going to start to drop, a little bit of carbohydrates here and there, maybe a little bit of fat. Keep that protein there, perhaps, just so you can make sure that you're still recovering, right? Giving your body what it needs. But we can take carbohydrates down, drop that a little bit, keep that energy down, make it so that your body can, carbohydrates is really easy to drop because you can just take away something small, but you can still be full off protein and still have good health from fatty acids. So carbohydrates is a place where you can kind of really drop that. So if you're on weight loss, right? You turn the knobs, you got it there and you're good. Weight gain, you're kind of increasing a little bit of stuff here. You're increasing fitness intensity, fitness level. You're definitely adding more carbohydrates. Fatty acids could possibly go up a little bit more because it's 9 calories per 1 gram. So if you want to improve caloric intake, you can up that just a little bit more. Maybe you want to keep the protein there, maybe a little bit higher because your intensity level is growing. So it means your muscle breakdown is probably getting a little bit more intense. So you want to recover that by bringing in more protein to recover the damaged tissue or to rebuild new tissue. This is basically how simple these things could be. So if you think by taking away a macro is going to help you lose weight, that's not what's happening. It's not because the macro's fault. It's because the lack of knowledge on that macro's energy source, which is the calorie, and understanding whether you've been put into a surplus or a deficit over a period of time. That's how simple it is. Protein can make you gain weight, absolutely, if that protein gram puts you into a caloric surplus. Carbohydrates, very simple to be there because you can eat 300 grams of protein or 300 grams of carbohydrates in one sitting. Is pretty simple. Eating 300 grams of protein in one sitting is very difficult. Carbohydrates, on the other hand, very simple because you have simple carbohydrates. Fatty acids as well. You can drink a cup of extra virgin olive oil, and that sucker has like a crap ton of fatty acids per serving, which I'm not sure about the exact measurements, but drinking a cup full is going to be a lot of calories. And just by doing that, now you're in a surplus. See what I'm saying? So if you abuse macros, it's not the macros' fault. The macros are there to do what they need to do inside your body. That's why they're there. That's why they're created. That's why they're labeled macros, because your body needs them. So why take one away and amplify other ones when it's not the carbohydrate's fault? It's because you've been abusing it and you haven't been creating a balance. And how come when people begin to lose weight by taking away carbohydrates, why does that happen? Because carbohydrates are very intense. They consume a lot of water. They use a lot of water, and your body can inflame with carbohydrates. This is why people get a pump. This is why people, whenever they're in a deficit, they might have a surplus from carbohydrates by eating more, doing a refeed, and that carbohydrate will fill them up more. Why? Because your body stores carbohydrates in the bloodstream, in the muscles. It stores it everywhere. This is why whenever you begin to take it away, glucose gets to drop, glycogen gets to drop, all these things get to drop, and then you get to drop. And then all because you've been looking at the scale and you say, oh, I lost 8 pounds or 10 pounds in 1 week. This is the reason why. Is it really body fat? Is it really because you've been balancing your macros to equal out to your fitness activity level to where you're expediting, a certain amount of energy, and then you're keeping a good balance there and you're in a strong deficit, but you're building muscle and you're sculpting the body, creating more superficial look to your muscle or vascularity? Are you doing that by balancing out those knobs, by balancing out your protein, carbs, and fats? If you abuse one macro, yes, it's going to either push you into weight gain or a surplus. Same thing with carbohydrates and fatty acids. Stop looking at a macro as the problem and start thinking, how is this macro increasing my caloric intake, which then is putting me into a surplus? That is where the question lies. And what do these macros play inside of my body? What kind of role? What is the task, the job description of a protein? What is the job description of a carbohydrate? What is a job description of a fatty acid? When do fibers come into play? Vitamins and minerals are very simple. They're needed. Carbohydrates are in fruit because fructose. But want to know what fruit has as well? Probiotics. They have antioxidants. They have amazing things that are there to help your system function at its most optimal level possible. So stop blaming a macro. Learn about it. Understand how you can create a balance, understand your goals, and understand what you want to achieve. Ladies and gentlemen, if I brought you some freaking value today, oh my gosh, I was pumped up for this one because there's just been too much going on. And I'm like, I'm going to educate, but also rant at the same time. So thank you so much for staying here with me and listening to me. And if you agree with me and you've learned something, I truly appreciate it. If you want to have a question or a conversation or a discussion about something I talked about, you always know where you can reach out to us. Our email is in the show notes of every single episode. So do not feel shy or do not be hesitant with asking us questions. Or if I confused you, or if I said something and you're like, hey, but I learned this somewhere else, ask the question. Ask the question, get the question answered, and then now you can figure out or have already learned what the truth is. And it's that simple, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here to help you all. I want to help you all. All right. But hey, if I brought you some value today, moved you somehow, inspired you, taught you something, all I ask you to simply share it to your best friend, gym buddy, your mom, dad, cousin, uncle, someone, coworker, neighbor, someone. The more people will get to listen to these episodes, y'all, the more lives we can all change together. And that's all I'm trying to do is inspire people to believe in themselves by bringing them the self-experience that I have gathered experience and stories from other amazing guest speakers. We've had over 100 guest speakers onto the show, and just the knowledge and education based behind science as well. We bring it all here to you so that you can learn, so you can implement and use this inside of your programs, inside of your life to make your happiness, your confidence for your body and health. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we do this for you. But hey, you know how we do it over here. This is Coach Matt. Thank you so much for tuning in, and get out there, train hard, and live strong.